My first book gush is going to be on The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. It's not a very long book. Recently I've been listening to audiobooks, so this one took me about 2 hours. I think it was just over 2 hours to listen to. By Ernest Hemingway. I don't know if I said that yet. But it was. I guess is. Maybe it was for me. It is a fantastic book. It goes in line with a movie I've recently watched called The Menu. I did a gush on that, I don't know, a couple days ago. But The Old Man and the Sea starts, well, I guess it's about, obviously, a fisherman, an old man fisherman. It doesn't say what age he is, but he's very much past his prime. He struggles fishing by himself, but he's very competent. He's good at his craft. He's done his, he knows what he's doing. But his age has caught up with him, and he's not as spry as he used to be. Anyways, he goes out fishing, and he catches a great big fish. It pulls him around. He eventually lashes it to his boat, catches it, brings it in. The sharks eat it on the way in, and then when he gets home, it's just a skeleton. The only thing that's left is the back fin, tail fin, the spine, ribs, the head, and the nose. I believe it's a swordfish is what he hooks. Let me check. It actually talks in the book about how he calls all fish, what was it? Tuna? I think he just kind of refers to all fish as tuna because whatever, doesn't matter to him. Fish is fish. It's a giant marlin. I should have known that. Is it? Oh, okay, that's why I was confused. So it looks like a sailfish. It just doesn't have the sail part. What was I thinking of? I guess I should have looked it up because... Wait, what? What's the difference between a marlin and a swordfish? The marlin's body is covered with dense, bony scales, while adult swordfish lose their scales as they mature. Oh, the swordfish has a round body and a triangular-shaped dorsal fin, similar to a shark. A swordfish. Compared to the swordfish, the marlin has a brightly colored dorsal fin. Can I take a look at one? Oh, interesting. Wow. What is the... So the marlin's coloring. So if you think of like a stereotypical swordfish, how bright blue they are on the top, that's kind of what the coloring of the marlin looks like. And the swordfish is actually grayer, almost black on the top and silvery in the bottom. What the heck? Oh, it's a baby swordfish. Oh, that's so cute. Wow, it's so tiny. Fits on this guy's finger. So cute. Wow, what is this then? No, I want to know what that is. Oh, here we go. Oh, a sailfish? Okay. So sailfish is something different. Okay. I see. So sailfish, that's the thing with the huge dorsal fin. Okay. Was I? Oh, maybe I was just reading it wrong. When I would look at photos of them back in the day, back when I was a wee baby, a wee lad. Sailfish, striped marlin, blue marlin. Oh, very nice. I learned something new today. So the sailfish have a huge sail. And the marlin. Oh, fuck. I can't remember. Go back, please. So swordfish has the shark-esque dorsal fin. Sailfish has the huge dorsal fin. And the marlin is super colorful. That doesn't look like a shark's fin. What are you smoking? I mean, looks like a. Actually, kind of looks a little lame compared to the marlin. Wow, the marlin's beautiful though. Sorry, I'm completely off the rails. Anyways, so he hooks this giant marlin, right? And I suppose I should start from the beginning because I gave you the super spark notes. It's a very, very, I don't want to say boring. I want to say not boring. What is the word I'm looking for? Comfortable? No. The only thing I can think of is swordfish because I'm looking at marlins and swordfish and sailfish right now. God damn it. What are billfish? I don't know. This picture just has that on it. I don't know what billfish are. That's why I'm here. So I'm asking you. Oh, don't click on that. Okay. So the book is very simple, I think, is the word I want. And simple is a life that the old man lives. So we start. The old man is on a fishless streak. He's like 84, 85 days without a fish. And obviously this is really bad because he's a fisherman and he's makes money and a livelihood off catching marlin and selling them at market. The scene starts with the old man bringing his boat in. He has nothing. And a boy comes up. He's good friends with this boy. It was a boy he taught how to fish. Not his grandson or anything. They're just friends. The boy greets the old man. How you doing? Didn't catch any fish today. That's too bad. But the boy's very kind, and he has great respect for the man. And so he helps him take all his stuff. Deconstruct the skiff, take the mast, carry the unused bait, all that stuff back to the old man's cabin. The other fishermen around the bay, the younger ones, like the younger men, don't have very much respect for the old man because all they've seen in the past 80 some days is that he's failed to catch a fish. The other old men, the old fishermen, besides the old man, they all have more respect for the old man because they've seen what he had done, what he can do, and they recognize him for that. And the boy used to fish with the old man, except the boy's parents, they believe in a little bit of superstition, and they believe that the old man, his luck has either run out or he's just not lucky. So they've put the young boy on a different fisherman's boat, who is considered lucky. And the boy successfully catches fish with this other man. It doesn't matter. His dad don't even think his name is mentioned. Anyways, they go back to the cabin. The boy is clearly very attached to this old man. He loves him, almost like a grandfather. And he's making sure the old man is fed through his own coin and through the generosity of other people in the town. Make sure he's fed, make sure he has water, make sure he is comfortable. And they love baseball, so they talk about baseball for a bit, and then the boy goes home, and the old man goes to sleep, dreaming of lions and dunes and the deserts of Africa. That was my T thing, that click. Anyways, the next morning, the old man gets up before the boy, because he believes that's kind of his duty, to help guide the younger generation, wake him up, get him going. He goes to the boy's house, wakes him up. They carry the old man's stuff to the boat. They set it back up. They say farewell. The young boy goes on to the other man's boat, who's considered lucky, and the old man goes out on his lonesome on his boat. Today, he goes out, because he's been unlucky for so long. He goes out way further than he has before. He goes out much further than he probably should. And he casts his lines, right? And then he waits. And he waits, and he waits. And finally he catches, or he hooks a fish. And I'm not really sure how. It sounds like he's in kind of just a simple skiff with like sticks across the edge with notches in them, maybe? Because it sounds like he's doing a lot of the fishing by hand, which is very impressive. So he hooks the fish, and he grabs onto it with his hands. He throws the line over his back, and he leans into it, and he, makes sure he holds it, but he can't pull it in because the fish is strong, and he can feel that. And he can feel that if he pulls too hard, he's going to break the line and lose the fish. And the fish just starts to swim away, and so all the old man can do is hang on and give line when it's needed so it doesn't break. And so the battle begins between the old man and the fish. The fish takes him out further and further into the ocean until he can't see the shore behind him. And the old man just endures. He just sits there and he holds on to this fish. As he sits there, he thinks about how strong this fish must be, how big it must be, how steadfast, and he doesn't even feel the fish faltering. It's steadfast in its journey. It's just going to keep going. Eventually, something else. He has like 5 lines out or something. Something else gets hooked on a line behind him, but the old man doesn't care. He quickly pulls out his knife and cuts not only the line that just hooked something else, but he cuts the other ones as well, so he doesn't have to worry about them. That he can just solely focus on the fish that he's initially hooked. And I liked that. I like that. It makes me think of the fox that chases 2 hares, catches neither. And I find it very respectable that the old man had decided to focus all his energy into this initial fish. I thought that was cool. That was a good way to explain this idea. Very simply. So he cuts the rest of his lines. He makes sure they're in the boat. They're not dragging in the water. And he does this all with one hand because he's holding on to the fish in one hand, holding on or fixing all the other stuff in the other. And through the night and into the next day, he's battling this fish. And you can feel his body weakening, strength sapping from his limbs. His left hand cramps so he can't use it. Cramps into a claw that he can't open because he's so desperately clinging to his line. And he curses his hand. He says, "If I could cut you off, that would be better." And he reprimands himself. "No, I'm losing my head. That's not how a man thinks. That's nonsense." And so to try to remedy this, he eats some other fish that he brought along. He eats it raw because he's busy. He can't cook it. And he's in a boat. Can't cook that. So he eats the fish to regain some strength. And he tells the fish, he says, "I have satiated my hunger for now, but you have not. So I'm winning in this battle of ours." It was wonderful. Throughout the whole book, especially in this this bit here, we can, well, I'm saying this like I'm a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I can see that the fish has, the fish is the old man. And as he's fishing it, he's praising this fish, even though he can't see him. He's praising the fish for the strength of its body, for its determination not to flip, not to jump, not to lose the hook. And he vows to catch it, or he vows that one of them will die. He cares not who, but he promises either I will die and the fish will escape, or the fish will die, and he'll catch it. And he tells the fish, I almost hope that you stay beneath the waves, and you do not come up to see this broken and old body of mine, so you can respect the fisherman that you believe that you are catching, or who is catching you, and not the one who actually is catching you. I thought that was, when I heard that, I really thought of how the other people in the town probably perceive him, especially the older men. They see the fisherman, they see that even though he's old, even though he's no longer in his prime, they respect what he has been. And in this time here, it's like the old man is he's not gaining perspective on how he's viewed, but he's expressing his view on the fish, and that is reflective on the view of, sounds so corny. It's like the view that his town has on him. And it's cool. It's really cool. Anyways, the fight keeps going on and on into the next day and into the next night. Eventually he's hungry. He needs to eat, so he casts a short line out. He pulls in another fish, guts it, and cuts off some fillets and eats that raw as well, still battling the fish. And as he does so, he talks to the fish. He talks to a bird that comes and lands by him. And he's continued to struggle. His hand is now healed itself. It's fixed. He cuts himself on the right hand once when the fish pulls suddenly. So he's weakened. His body is weakened. His back's not great. One hand cramped, one hand is cut. But he's regained some nourishment by catching another fish and eating that. And he's sitting there thinking about how he wishes he had the boy in his boat still, to help him, to help maybe catch a fish for both of them to eat, to, instead of cutting the lines earlier, making them fast so he didn't have to, because he lost money having to cut those lines. I promise I'll make sense at the end. I'll try to tie it together. Anyways, and again, he keeps fighting this fish until finally, basically after a while, he does catch it. He brings it up to the boat and he harpoons it straight through the heart. And that's with the very last ounce of his strength. That's all he can do. And if he missed, the fish would have gotten away. Excuse me. If he missed, the fish would have gotten away. But it didn't. He used his skills and his expertise to harpoon the fish, and it died, and it floats at the top of the water. He's exhausted, but still the work needs to get done. So he brings it in, lashes its head to the front of the skiff, lashes its tail to the end, to the rear of the skiff, because it's too big for him to pull into the boat. And then he sets up sail and starts sailing into harbor. And of course, a dead fish in the water is going to attract predators, and sharks start to come to attack the ship. The first one comes and takes a bite out of the fish near its tail, but the old man stabs it through the brain with his harpoon. I can't remember if it was the first shark or the second shark. But he stabs it through the head with the harpoon, kills it, the shark is gone. And then later, 2 more sharks come up, and he tells you the species and whatnot. Not the sharks, I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. 2 more sharks come up, he stabs them with the harpoon, and they die. I can't remember if it was the first shark or the second sharks. The harpoon gets stuck in it. Yeah, it gets stuck in it. And then the line breaks, so he can't reel it back in. And when sharks die, they don't have buoyancy sacks, right? So it sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and he He's left without a harpoon, so he takes an oar or paddle, one of the two, and lashes his knife onto to the end with some rope, so he has a makeshift weapon. Because he knows now that the fish has been bit, it's going to start releasing it's going to now. Oh my gosh, stop it! Now that the shark has been bit, it is going to start releasing more blood into the water, and more sharks are going to come. And sure enough, more sharks come, and he has to fight them off. But each time, he has to sacrifice a bit of the fish, so he can get a clear shot at the sharks. Otherwise, he's just stabbing in water, right? So the first shark next sharks come. He kills them one after another. Eventually, he hits one, and the knife snaps in the shark's head. The shark is dead, but he's weaponless. So he takes his fish beater and he uses that to fend off the next sharks that come. But it's just one old man versus the entire ocean. And eventually the sharks, they consume the whole of the fish. It becomes nighttime, and the old man knows there's nothing he can do. So he just continues sailing into harbor as he can feel the sharks hitting the fish, eating it. Until finally the sun comes up. There's nothing left but the carcass, the spine, tail fin, and the head. He gets back. I think it's late at night when he gets back. Nobody's in the harbor. Everybody's packed up already for the night. Still, he drags the boat as far as he can, and he takes what he can carry and makes to his cabin. On the way, he collapses because, goodness, he's been fighting for nigh on 3 days now. And he collapses and contemplates. I think he contemplates continuing living here. Doesn't directly say that. But he eventually finds his resolve and he continues home, where he falls asleep. The next day, the boy comes to check on him, finds him sleeping there. He's already been to the harbor. He's seen the boat. He's seen the carcass of the fish. And he gently wakes the old man. No, he doesn't. He waits for the old man to wake naturally. There's actually a point of that. Yeah. So he lets the old man wake naturally, makes sure he's fed, has his coffee. They talk a little about baseball. Do they talk about baseball? Baseball's kind of an overarching theme in the book. The old man has a few idols in baseball that he really respects. It's kind of like his sports teams in general, right? You respect the players and kind of you have your favorite players. I think I'm not a sports guy. And he talks about how he imagines the great sports people would do if they were put in this position, and that gives them strength. Blah 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 blah. But back to the cabin. The other fishermen are absolutely gawking at this massive massive carcass that the old man brought in, and they know that they can see that sharks ate it. It's unfortunate, but they were in awe of the old man's strength, of what he was able to do. Because as fellow fishermen, they know how much effort it would have been to reel in a marlin that size, right? They respect it. But the old man, when asked by the boy what he wants to do with the carcass, he says the head can go to the bait master, whatever, and used for. It can be chopped up for bait. He doesn't care. And the boy asks, "What of the bill?" The old man says, "You can have the bill. It is nothing to me now." As the only thing really left on the old man's mind is to go out fishing the next day. That's kind of where the book ends. There really isn't an ending. Or really, obviously there's an ending. No, there really isn't like a resolution. And I find that it really gives me. I really like that. Because the old man isn't concerned about the rewards. He isn't concerned about the loss or the failure that he just experienced. He knows that he can do it again. He knows that he has the power, the strength left in him to keep fishing, and he looks forward to the next battle he'll fight. And thinking back on this is just me now. This isn't the old man. But I can see how the previous choices and circumstances of the old man causes him to lose the fish, causes him to not directly regret, but how it affects his life. And yes, the old man definitely was catching himself in the fish, calls it brother and stuff all the time. But I feel like I'm not making sense. How do I make this make sense? The circumstance of old age hinders his ability for success. The circumstance of not having the boy with him in the boat hinders his ability for success. His age. Did I say that right? My mind is absolutely wandering. His age hinders his success. His beat-up body hinders his success. His cramped hand, his cut hand, his old back, his lack of food. They're all factors. But on the flip side, so is his experience in fishing. And like his knowledge in fishing, and the fact that he did go out further than before, further than he ever has, and anyone else ever has, to give him the opportunity to catch such a fish, shows his success, or reflects his aptitude for success. I feel like I'm using the wrong words, but I think I'm getting my point across. It's cool to think about, especially at the end, where even though he has the opportunity to get so much recognition, to get so much praise, to get so much praise for what he's done, even though he didn't bring in the fish, the townspeople and whatnot are willing to give him praise and stuff, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't consider it at all. The only thing that matters is the next day and the next fish, and he will try again, because it is what he does. It is his nature, as he says. And to me, that gives me, I don't want to sound corny. It makes me respect that. Respect in today's language, you'd say the grind. But actually, no, I don't like that. Because the grind implies that there's some sort of guaranteed success. That you're grinding for something to succeed at. There's, in most cases, monetary gain at the end of that. But the old man doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the failure that he just suffered. He cares about the fishing. He cares about what he does, his nature. And he's very happy to exist in that, in the time, in the now. God, I feel like I'm missing the point I'm trying to say. It'd be smart of me to pause here and think about it a bit more, but I don't want to. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. Anyways, but I did say it made me think of the movie The Menu that I watched recently, about how the chef, the only thing the chef cared about was his work. He was very obsessive. He's more obsessive than the old man, right? The chef cares more about his work. He cares about what he does. He cares about his product. He doesn't care about the recognition as much. He wants to do his job. He wants to be respected for his job. And he just wants to kind of exist in the moment. But with so many outside pressures, it's just beating him down. The critics, the average, the bright-eyed people who are obsessed with his work but don't know how he does it, take the magic out of it. The regulars who are there only to satiate their own palates. The frat bro finance people who are there more for the clout and the prestige rather than the experience that the chef can give. I think as entertainment, I would say the menu is probably more entertaining, but as a memorable story, The Old Man and the Sea is superior, because The Old Man, even though the ideas of recognition, of situation, of not criteria, of circumstance, there we go, it's implied in the book, it's not directly stated. And I find that the message is far more powerful because of that. It's a very good book. I haven't read anything else by Ernest Hemingway, but I probably will, especially if his other books are of this quality. This is quite a good book. But yeah, good story. I think my next gush I'll have to Lord of the Flies. That was a wonderful book. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, I guess.